All right, Danny, what would a win over Stafford mean for Caleb Williams, your guy?
He is my guy, and I get that it would mean a lot for everyone other than me.
Oh, no.
Well,
What?
I think that everything that you guys are about to say in your answers is inevitable. Like, best quarterback in the NFC going into next year if Stafford, yeah, he will eventually be the best quarterback in the NFC. He is going to win an MVP. He is going to win a Super Bowl. Like, this is a huge game because this magical season can continue, and I do think they legitimately can win the Super Bowl. If you're still playing this round, you can win it. But I just think the rest of the people will start catching up to what I felt last year. I said bust was off the table with him last year. Like, he is excellent, a tier 1 elite talent in the game, and I don't think it really comes down to the result of one game for him.
So, I agree with you that win or lose, his long-term potential might be the same, but this game has a ton to do with where he is right now, this moment. Like, this would,
how quickly
right, and how if Caleb Williams, I think the Rams are going to win, not because I think Caleb's going to play poorly, but because I think the Rams might score 42 points in this game.
They easily could.
But if that happens, then it is, even if Caleb plays well, it is very difficult to make a Caleb Williams top 5 in the NFL case at the start of next season.
I don't think that's on the board.
If they win this game, absolutely.
If they win this game, you're saying Caleb is
No,
top
I'm
5.
saying it's I'm saying if they lose, that's not available. If they win, I'm open. Let's see how the rest of the thing goes.
You can say Caleb, and it's like, let me hear you.
If the possibility is still there.
Right, in the similar way that people might have said that for Jaden, after the year they had last year, that going into the divisional round, the upside's the upside. He's going to be a star, all of this. But winning that game in the divisional round against Detroit, right? It was against Detroit. Getting to the conference championship game is what made people feel differently about Jaden.
Yeah.
Put him in that,
he's top 5.
Right, or a trendy MVP pick for next year, those types of things. If Caleb winning this weekend and executing this upset, if Caleb wins, plays great, and they upset the Rams, and Drake May loses and plays poorly, and they get upset by the Texans, whether you like it or not, Caleb versus Drake is going into next year a very fair conversation.
Absolutely.
Really?
If Caleb is the reason.
Yes.
Now, Nick said if Caleb plays great. If Caleb just wins and he's
But it's hard to imagine they could win without him playing great in this matchup.
Yeah, true, because it might
I'm not to be like a Drake apologist, but the Texans defense versus this Rams defense, if one plays slightly better than the other.
If Caleb wins this, plays great, is the reason they beat the Rams in this round. They get to the NFC Championship game. It is on the table.
Yeah, and Drake plays poorly.
I guess I don't need all of these qualifiers. Like, if Caleb plays poorly in this game and they lose, you might not think the conversation is fair, but we have seen guys take the leap. It's either year 2 in the league or year 3 in the league, year 2 in the system. There is going to be a huge conversation going into next year. Caleb's talent, Ben Johnson, and a full offseason to master his offense. Caleb Williams, no matter how he plays in this game, is going to be on a ton of preseason MVP lists for next year. And top 5 lists and all of
what Nick brought up was him. Why would he be if he doesn't?
He can be.
If he loses this game and doesn't play well, you think he's on top 5 list?
I think people will talk about
it would all be just projection.
Yeah,
it would all be but let's see him be more accurate. We're projecting that. Let's see him do it.
I mean, the preseason MVP pick, I agree with. Like C.J. Stroud was last year, a trendy preseason MVP pick. Jordan Love this year, Jaden Daniels this year were trendy picks. Yeah. But people were picking those guys without saying they're already top 5 quarterbacks.
Right.
I don't think if Caleb loses this game, it is fair to say I'll just use the Drake May comp. You lose any ability to make an argument that he right now is ahead of Drake May in the quarterback hierarchy.
Sure, but I mean, if you think he is going to win the MVP,
that's what I think. You're talking, Danny, I think you're talking projections. Like, if they lose this game, I'm sorry, and Caleb has been phenomenal down the stretch of games, and I do think he's looking like he's going to be a superstar. But if he plays a similar game and they lose, like he's bad the first 2.5 quarters, 3 quarters, whatever it is, and then comes on strong, but say they lose, I'm sorry, I can't put him in the top 5
That's fine.
right now. Like, I want most great quarterbacks can play 4 quarters of good football. That's what I want to see him start doing.
KW, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
Because there are the things that you personally, historically have valued about quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. Caleb Williams this year has checked off nearly all of them. I've never heard you, prior to your guy Drake May being a completion percentage god and Caleb being bad about it, in the whole years we've done the show.
Is he bad, or is he the worst starting quarterback in the league?
Well, hold on. But that is a stat that prior to this year, it never was mentioned ever.
I don't want to be weird, but we never talk about a guy having the worst. We don't talk about the guy who has the worst completion percentage.
That's fine, but and maybe I sidebarred myself. But you have never cared. All you have cared about with quarterbacks is, do they find a way to win?
Correct.
Caleb not only has been finding ways to win, but has been doing it in spectacular fashion that it's undeniably his doing at the end of these games. And for some reason, you seem to, in this specific case, be like, I actually don't like that because you're inaccurate early. When in the past, with quarterbacks, you didn't care if they threw 3 picks and no touchdowns. If they won, it was the only thing that mattered.
I love wins. But am I supposed to say that Caleb is better than Jordan Love because he was spectacular at the end of that game? And Matt LaFleur wasn't able to hold a huge lead, even though Jordan Love threw 4 touchdowns.
What I'm saying is, historically, with any quarterback I've ever heard of with you, if it was like, hey, these 2 guys played 3 times, won 2 of them.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness.
Right. You will make a case for Jalen Hurts over Matt Stafford. You will do that because of quarterback wins.
2 Super Bowls.
But with Caleb, you don't seem to be into it.
I'm not saying he's top 5. And being the worst.
I don't think anybody is saying he's top 5. But if he wins this game, it has to be available to him.
I totally agree. It should be. Top 5 has to be available if you're in the NFC Championship game.
I feel like
what happens if you've gone to 2 Super Bowls and are the reigning Super Bowl MVP, and then we're saddled with a bad offensive coordinator?
Guess what? He came into this year
top 5?
Top 5 available to him. We talked about that after the Super Bowl. Okay. This year, I
just feel like we're getting top 5.
Hurt himself.
Anybody that if they win this game, lose the championship game, anybody that puts him in the top 5, which I think Danny might do, it's based on projection, which is fair if you're saying, I predict he will be one of the 5 best quarterbacks next season.
Next year.
But
obviously
to say,
is not already
right, that's what I'm saying. If you're saying already, not even just accomplishments, but
who are the top
just
5?
ability.
If he wins this game and then loses the NFC Championship game, but still plays well, not great.
Just the Jaden story. The exact Jaden story.
So who are your top 5 next year?
Going into next year, it would be Mahomes, it would be Allen, it would be Stafford, Herbert, and Burrow, and Drake May.
Herbert?
That's
in
now
your
you're
top
6.
Now we're at 6 and we haven't mentioned Caleb.
They'd be ahead of. Those guys would be ahead of Caleb. Yeah, those guys would be ahead of Caleb.
Shout out to Justin Herbert. I like.
I want somebody to love me like this.
For heading into next year. But again, if you think, I don't know what there is to doubt, because I think the accuracy. Caleb. I think the accuracy stuff is very clearly going to get fixed. He has plenty of throws that are right on the money from the pocket on time. From the pocket.
His best throws are when he's rolling out and he's under a little duress and he's making something happen.
Yeah, I think he's a rhythm player for his highlight throws.
That's why I think he's great at the end, because he's playing off instinct.
I just think once he gets more comfortable in this new system, it had been 3 systems in 3 years with college last year and now this year with Ben Johnson.
Sure.
I do think that he is going to settle dial into the fundamentals. He's talented enough to complete 66% of his passes in the NFL.
Yeah, I also, when young people
here we go.
ask me about
This is
broadcasting.
Grandpa.
This will be Brew. I think you'll like
We
this.
should have a segment called Grandpa Nick.
Yeah.
Grandpa's wisdom.
And they're like, especially if they just started a podcast or something. One of my biggest pieces of advice is I'm like, listen to your first 5 episodes and find the one thing you think you do the worst, whether it's say or whatever it is. Don't ignore every other mistake you think you made and fix that.
Right.
Good
And
advice.
once that is fixed and you do a bunch of episodes with whatever you think your biggest, then move on to the next thing.
That's a good idea.
And then don't tackle everything at once. Figure. To me, Caleb this year, the number one thing he went into going from year 1 to year 2 is, man, I cannot be sacked 70 times. And once he got his arms around that, it was, I got to figure out a way to make sure we're not getting out of the huddle at 8 seconds and having these procedural penalties and pre-snap stuff. And to me, he licked them both.
Yeah.
So I would imagine his number one thing this offseason is going to be, man,
hit the layups.
I got to get better. That stupid video in the preseason actually did matter. The one of him throwing at the net and missing it badly and then being pissed at himself, like that's the number one thing. So I just assume he will get better at that because he got better at the stuff he needed to.
That's fair. It feels like Danny also thinks the Rams are going to win this game. All right, time now for a great edition of Packed Stats. 3 of the coolest stats and one of the coolest presenters in all of television.
Presenters?
Yes.
Is he British?
Yes.
That's what they...
Get ready for some cool stats. Here they come.
Don't worry about the gloves, Nick.
Okay.
Something coming there.
I was going to say, I usually have a job. I hand Danny the gloves.
The gloves, I like the gloves.
You got fired. Brew? Just wait.
Wow.
You guys know what else is cool?
What else is cool?
He showed me
You've
the
been
hand.
waiting. What else is cool?
What's cool?
Thanks for asking. Superheroes.
I agree with that.
Superheroes are objectively cool, right?
Yeah.
We always talk about Josh Allen. He's got to put on his cape like a superhero.
Gloves are in there.
Basically, just wait. No one's done it more than him except Brady. Would you say that that's a superhero game, the 3 or more touchdowns and the 0 picks, basically the perfect game for the quarterback? He did it last week against Jacksonville. We say he has to just be the one who carries the team. He can pass Patrick Mahomes for second most playoff games in NFL history with 3 or more touchdowns and 0 picks. If Josh Allen is going to be that superhero, tough to see Bo Nix keeping up with him. And by the end of these playoffs, he could be number 1. He could pass Tom Brady for most of these games all time.
You think he's going to run the table on that?
Wow. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
I think that's
it's on the
going
board.
to be.
It's on the board.
Drop the banner.
On the board.
Well, I mean, that would get him a banner. If he ran the table, and it would mean they won the Super Bowl.
Well, sure.
KW.
Yeah, we will drop banners for the Super Bowl. I'm not saying. I like the stat. Me too.
I don't think you
cool.
do.
No, that stat I like.
No, it was
I
cool.
like 3
It was a cool
touchdowns,
stat.
0 turnovers. I revile your thesis bar.
In terms of playoff performers,
Allen already among playoff GOAT quarterbacks.
There's no way you believe it.
based on how he individually performs in the playoffs, because I'm a guy who, yes, playoff wins matter, but I don't knock Josh Allen for losing in the 13-second game.
That's the only loss
okay, Nick.
that you can say
How
that
about the
he had nothing to
Cincinnati
do
loss?
with.
I'm not saying that he's been perfect in every playoff game,
But
but
when you say GOAT, that's just a bridge.
I'm saying in terms of how he individually plays in the playoffs.
You need some hardware. Even be in the discussion.
I'm gonna enrage Wilds via Danny. Hey, Danny.
Great.
Who was a better playoff? If their careers ended today, who was the better playoff quarterback performer, Josh Allen or Eli Manning?
Josh Allen?
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, not even close.
You think that?
Of course not.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. That's fine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Listen,
a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio with a passer rating of 87 in the playoffs for Eli Manning. Congratulations.
Here's what. Let me ask you this.
I mean,
What if Josh
Epically bad.
never won a Super Bowl?
yeah, it wouldn't matter to Danny. That's
No,
the
he'd be
point.
an
That would
all-time
not matter.
Winning the games don't
He would still
actually
be in the
matter.
GOAT
No,
conversation
winning-
for
yes.
playoffs.
For how he
If he
individually
continued to play
performs.
this well but never won,
Correct.
How
It never
he
matters.
individually individually performs, yeah, he is a great playoff performer.
It would never matter. It's like if you were an IndyCar driver, you never
It's a
won a
team
race.
game.
But you had the average
Tracy
top
McGrady,
speed,
one of the
but you
greatest
never-
playoff performers.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
Because he was great individually.
The problem, okay, we have
wasn't
to
Tracy.
stats.
You know what else is cool? Well, I actually will agree with this one.
Good.
Riding shotgun.
I like that one.
Alex loves riding shotgun. I don't understand it. I like to
does.
drive. CJ Stroud, elite shotgun rider. In the Texans' playoff wins, their last 3 seasons, this blew my mind. I knew they were good. I didn't know they were this good. The Texans' defense has allowed 32 points against them. Their defense has scored 32 points.
Wow.
They have 5 touchdowns defensively.
and a safety.
No.
Oh.
A blocked extra point returned for a 2-point
Oh,
conversion.
wow, the other way you can get 2 points.
Exactly. So if I would have included the extra points for the
incredible.
defense actually would have 36, but obviously those 4 extra points go to the special teams.
Obviously.
CJ Stroud, 5 total touchdowns against 4 turnovers in his playoff wins. But I have to say that CJ Stroud is a great playoff quarterback because he gets carried by a defense that is literally playing his opponents to even.
No one says CJ Stroud is a great playoff
You
quarterback.
literally said you'd rather have him start a playoff game over Justin Herbert.
Well, yeah, because Justin Herbert's
Justin
one of
Herbert's
the
been
worst
abysmal.
playoff quarterbacks ever.
Abysmal.
You
Justin
don't
Herbert
have
had
to
that
be,
defense.
buddy.
Oh my God.
Buddy, I'm gonna
We
strangle
scored
you.
16 points.
He had the #1 defense in the league last year against CJ Stroud in the playoffs, and CJ outplayed him.
4 picks.
I mean, he can't stop
The defense is playing it to the end.
We got to stop with Herbert.
Yeah.
It's just nobody. Now I get
This
it.
is
You
unbelievable.
think that anybody that people would rather have than Herbert, that means they think that player's awesome. That's not what it means. It doesn't mean that we think
Slightly
CJ
above average.
Stroud.
You don't have to be awesome to be better than
You just
Justin
have to
Herbert in the
literally be
playoffs.
Yeah, you
any
do.
quarterback that's
Really?
not
Not in the
Andy Dalton.
playoffs.
Guys, stay cool.
Pretty impressive
Yeah, we
Texans
like
defense,
the
though.
Texans defense.
We like
Yeah.
the Texans defense?
Yeah,
You like them?
so many.
You
So
nervous about the Texans defense?
just
Heck
like
yeah.
Okay.
Just like
Shivering in
so
his
many
boots.
of me and Brew's most vitriolic arguments, if we were to be like, this begat that, begat that, begat that, it's actually about Jimmy Garoppolo versus Brian Hoyer and CJ Beathard.
CJ Beathard.
So many of Danny's most like, what takes are actually a defense of Justin Herbert. Just a bunch of different proxy wars
Eventually,
elsewhere.
that lottery ticket is going to hit. And you're going to be the guy.
Next year.
I'm not so
Next
sure.
year.
Next year.
Caleb,
I'm
all
not so
right.
sure.
You guys know what else is cool? Props.
Props.
Props, that's right.
What is this?
We
Why
have
do you have
so
your-
many props.
new
on
Why do you
the
have your
show.
mother's dishwasher?
I'm going to tell you why.
Those
Because
aren't
Wilds
cool.
wanted to get rid of my briefcase for another delivery mechanism. And I did not like that very much. So, Troy, if you don't mind,
This is.
the box!
What is happening? We have overpropped this segment. Troy's got gloves on.
Troy's involved. You know what else is cool, guys?
Dry ice.
You know what else
We
is
have
cool?
dry ice in the budget.
You know what else is cool?
What?
Nicknames. Caleb Williams' nickname is the Iceman. That was supposed to be a little bigger. All right.
The ice has gone down.
Iceman.
This is America. Just trust us. This is dry ice.
It's dry ice. Hold on. Got some warm water here.
You're supposed to pour water. Oh, this is.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
cool, actually. That
Pretty
is.
cool.
That is cool.
It is cool.
I'm impressed.
Caleb Williams' nickname, the
like
Iceman.
Are you
For how-
supposed to pour this?
I know I was
Yeah.
gonna do it at the end, but
That's cool.
Sweet.
it's really
That
cool.
looks crap.
Wow.
I like that. That's cool.
Who has? Take it easy, bro. Who has the most fourth quarter passing yards this season in the NFL?
I don't know. That guy.
I was like, yeah.
The Iceman. That's how he's earned his nickname. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, Danny, maybe it's because the Bears are always trailing and they're coming back.
Yeah,
No,
that is what I'm thinking.
that is what you're thinking. Well, who is he in front of? Second and third place, fourth quarter passing yards this year. I don't know, 2 guys who are pretty good, Josh Allen and Matt Stafford. So while I wanted to give Caleb Williams the nickname The One, and he paints that as nails, so I think that's what Caleb likes too. Iceman has stuck. So
Iceman
I like the
Iceman is great.
The Iceman's a great
Granted,
nickname.
2 other people already have that, but
Iceman
George Gervin.
George Gervin and
and
Didn't
Val
somebody
Kilmer.
die in?
Val Kilmer.
Oh, Iceman didn't die.
No.
Goose died.
Yeah, Goose. You didn't know
Spoiler.
Goose?
Well, no,
oh
I
my
mean,
God, people.
Top Gun Maverick actually Iceman does that.
Oh, yeah. Double spoiler.
Valid point.
Yeah, sorry.
So the one is better.
Know your top.
The one is better.
Know
The
your
one is
top
better.
franchise.
That is great.
How do you think about this new delivery mechanism?
I think
Miles, instead of the
doesn't
briefcase?
work,
hot.
and it's not even on camera anymore.
I did like it.
Oh man,
It is cool. We
It's
might.
cool.
Why
Yeah,
are you wearing these gloves, bro?
I think they're cool.
They told me it's not safe.
you. I knew it. I knew it.
I love it.
Every
You
once in a
know it's all
while.
in danger.
This the whole idea is you're wearing a leather jacket and being cool, and somebody in standards and practices was like, we're not allowed to bring out dry ice if we don't make them put on these damn goggles and dishwashing gloves,
That is what
which are not going to protect you at all.
that is what.
You know what else is cool? Safety.
Gentlemen, it is time now for the eye test. As everyone knows, I see the league clearly. So we look even closer in the postseason. There are 9 job openings. It's almost a third of the league.
Yeah.
I can do the math. So we're going to apply the eye test to which are the best openings for prospective candidates looking for NFL employment. To the bottom row, the Cardinals, Browns, and Dolphins. These are among the worst jobs. The Dolphins, they haven't had a coach last more than 5 years since Don Shula, and Tyreek Hill and Tua are both more than $50 million apiece against the cap next year. But you do get to live in South Beach. The Browns are the Browns. They're basically a punchline into themselves. $80 million cap hit just for Deshaun Watson. Do have 2 first-round picks. I look at Shedeur Sanders' presence there as a negative, not a positive.
Hey.
And then Arizona, they have pieces in place, but it is just a brutal division. It is a absolutely brutal division to work through, and with not having the absolute top pick to go pick your quarterback, I don't see a way out for them for at least a couple of years. To the next row on the eye test, Titans, Raiders, and surprisingly the Steelers. I'll get to the Steelers in a second.
Okay.
I am not a believer in Cam Ward, but if you are, this obviously bumps up. You have the 4th pick and the 2nd most cap space, and you're in a winnable division. But if you take a job with the number 1 overall pick attached to it, he's attached to it. This isn't a late first-round pick, late round pick. Like, Cam Ward's your guy for 2 years, and we've seen coaches be one and done. So that is purely I don't know if I see enough from Cam Ward there. The Raiders have had 5 coaches in their last 8 years and have no talent on offense, so there is no stability there. The Steelers historically don't fire coaches, but I don't know if that is like a 21st century thing or a historical thing. Like, yeah, maybe this next coach is going to get 15 years to figure it out, but if he doesn't, they have an old, expensive roster, no cap space, and the 21st pick in the draft. As we go to the next row, the New York Giants and the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Falcons, to me, there's just a lot of talent. Now, there's not a lot of talent at quarterback, which is a big, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play observation? But you're not married to Penix or Cousins.
True.
And you have an all-pro guard in Lindstrom. You have an all-pro safety in Bates. You have an all-pro running back in Bijan, who just had one of the best under 24 seasons a running back's had in NFL history. Drake London is awesome. If you want to bring back Pitts, he looked good at the end of the year. They finally addressed their pass rush in the last draft, so they got young pieces there. Like, they've got a lot of talent, 2 through 53. You play in a dome, and you play in the easiest division in football. And then the New York Giants, while I am also not as a huge Jackson Dart guy, you can move off the 24th pick in the draft a lot easier than you can move off the number 1 pick in the draft in Cam Ward. And the Giants have talent.
They definitely do.
They have a lot of young talent with Carter and Thibodeau and Thomas and obviously Malik Neighbors. Like, they have some blue chip talent at blue chip positions, and you're in New York. You win there, it's an immortal spot. We can apply that to Pittsburgh, and obviously this one is not very difficult to understand. I don't need the magnifying glass for it. The Baltimore Ravens. They've had 3 coaches ever. They had 6 Pro Bowlers. They have the 3rd most wins in the last 10 years. Stable organization, stable front office, and oh yeah, by the way, 29-year-old in his prime, 2-time MVP, Lamar Jackson, is attached to the job. Some people would view that as a negative if you don't like Lamar for his 30s. I think for at least a couple of 2, 3 of the next 4 years, you'll get elite Lamar Jackson. That is the best job available of the 9, Greg.
Yeah, so the Steelers, in my opinion, you have too low, because even without knowing who your quarterback could be moving forward, you understand that the second best thing for a head coach that they're looking for, if not the first, is how much time would I have?
If they say you have 10 years, okay, fine, then yeah, make it number 1.
And understanding you have draft capital. They got 5 picks in the first 99. They got 12 picks right now as of the 2026 draft. You can do things with those picks. Obviously, you talked about the cap hits with what they don't have. If you decide
They got the oldest roster in football.
if you decide to start moving and shuffling some of those pieces, it opens up some money there, which they have the option to do. But again, time. If a head coach is understanding, we got the culture set. Organization is going to support me. They're going to allow me to create my plan and execute my vision. That's right next to the Ravens, if not above the Ravens, pending you don't care, you're not tied to Lamar and having to have the pressure of winning right away because you have Lamar.
I would just be guessing. Like, do the Steelers employ coaches for 2 decades at a time because they just believe in it, or because they've only had great coaches? Like, if the next coach struggles, I have a hard time believing it's like, all right, 4 wins, 5 wins, 2 wins. Yeah, we're just going to keep you because we believe in it.
They don't believe in being impulsive, and I think that's the biggest thing about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They allow a coach to figure it out, and they also back him publicly and behind the curtain. They put together a plan where he feels like going into every season he has a legit shot. As far as the eye test for me, man, I'm going to knock down those Raiders and I'm going to bump up those Dolphins. And I get it. You're right. The quarterback situation is a nightmare. The cap is a puzzle in itself. But I watched this team towards the back end of the season, and they started to rally. Go back to that game against Pittsburgh. They were in that game, especially defensively. Tua was absolute horrible. He ended up getting benched. But nevertheless, man, I watched this team, even with Quentin Ewers and how they performed towards the back end. I just believe they have enough. They just obviously got to figure out the quarterback position, and they start adding some more pieces. This could be a good destination for a young head coach.
So the Raiders piece of it, I struggled with it because, okay, they are the opposite of the Steelers. Like I said, 5 coaches in 8 years. Yeah. They just fire you. They're the worst offense in football this year.
And they're still paying their coaches they're fired.
Right.
Yeah.
But they have a ton of cap space and they got the number 1 pick in the draft. So we've seen if Mendoza's the guy, like, right?
And they got some really foundational pieces that are young.
But so I'm just saying, like, if Mendoza, like, so I kind of just put the Raiders in the middle because I was like, well, a quarterback can change everything. Like, honestly.
But they have a lot of holes. Like, outside of Brock Bowers and Genty and obviously Max Crosby.
Crosby's going to be gone, I think.
They don't have much. They're all in the trenches. They're horrible on both sides of the ball.
They are. Do you think the Steelers is the best job, though? Because they don't have much there, but they have the organization.
I think the organizational backing a coach and allow him to grow into the position is probably one of the best destinations. Now, also, I think right now, like, if they happen to get, and I'm just throwing stuff out here, we dwell in hypotheticals. If they happen to get an A.J. Brown to be a number 2 or 1, however you put it, next to DK Metcalf, both were teammates at Ole Miss, I think you start changing things around offensively. I think Aaron may come back, believe it or not.
You think Aaron comes back without Tomlin?
I'm telling you.
What?
Yeah, I got a feeling.
It's just a feeling.
I got a feeling.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.